The August public meeting for CalRecycle. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. There's a lot of really meaningful content in this month's agenda. We do have two items to begin the morning. The first will be an update on our debris removal operations, and I'm going to ask Wes Minderman to come on up and give us that report. Thanks, Wes.
Thank you, Ken. Good morning, everybody. I'm Wes Minderman with the CalRecycle Engineering Support Branch, and this morning I'm going to give you a brief verbal update on our debris removal operations currently underway. You may recall we exited the 2018 fire season with 3 mission tasks from the Governor's Office of Emergency Services to implement disaster debris removal within the communities affected by the Mendocino Fire Complex in Lake County, the Woolsey and Hill fires in Ventura and Los Angeles counties, and the Camp Fire in the town of Paradise and surrounding Butte County. Including these 3 operations, CalRecycle and its federal, state, and local government partners have conducted 22 debris removal operations since July of 2007. With respect to the Mendocino complex in Lake County, that project was started last fall. We had to suspend operations due to the onset of one of the wettest winters we've had in recent history. There's approximately 20 of the 140 parcels remaining that need disaster debris removed from those sites as of right now. And we're currently working with our federal partners to obtain a federal permit and to complete and submit the environmental support documents to remobilize and begin those debris removal operations again, which we anticipate will begin in early September 2019. With respect to what we call the South Branch, which is the Woolsey and Hill fire recoveries in Los Angeles and Ventura counties, that debris removal operation is virtually complete. 926 parcels enrolled in the program, all of which are complete. Over 422,000 tons of debris were removed from those lots. The final activities include punch list items on less than 10 sites and debris removal operations in an area we call Malibu Lake, which we expect will all be completed by the end of this week. And so that concludes our South Branch operations. With respect to the North Branch, the Camp Fire up in the town of Paradise in Butte County, today we have 63 debris removal crews operating in that area. This is consistent with our planned ramp down from a high of 154 debris removal crews in July of 2019. 10,805 parcels are enrolled in that program. 9,964 have had debris removal operations completed, with over 3.2 million tons removed from those lots to date. 5,331 parcels have had all the activities completed and have been returned to the owners and the local governments so they can begin redevelopment on those properties. We expect the initial debris removal will be completed on the sites hopefully by the end of September 2019, and that all aspects of the operation will be completed by the end of February 2020 at this point. As I mentioned earlier, these operations involve working with a number of local, state, and federal partners towards helping the disaster survivors in these affected communities recover as expeditiously and efficiently as possible. These operations also require the use of many CalRecycle staff, our contractors, and our consultants from a multitude of units within our 4 major divisions and our many offices. I just want to express my appreciation to those staff who've deployed and who have worked here in Sacramento directly on those projects, as well as my appreciation for all those staff who really picked up the workload and carried on CalRecycle's missions while these other staffs are diverted to these critical operations. And with that concludes my update, pending any questions.
I don't see any questions, so just from us, Wes, thank you very much. And again, our thanks to everyone you listed, really, the staff, the other agencies who are involved, the local governments. This effort was and continues to be a order of magnitude larger than any effort we've undertaken. And the state has really stepped up and done an exceptional job. It's first class, so thank you very much.
Yeah, and one last point, Wes is being characteristically modest. I think everyone needs to understand the extraordinary leadership that Wes himself has brought to this. Long nights, weekends, at the drop of a hat, Wes is responsive not just answering our questions and helping us solve problems from everything that are operational issues to financing issues, but working very closely with Cal OES and understanding all the operational planning, logistics, and finance needs that are necessary on the ground to make it work. So you deserve an extraordinary amount of credit and respect for how hard you have worked on this and the pace and the tone that you have set for the state's success, not just CalRecycle's success, but the state's success in making this happen. So I am extraordinarily grateful for you and the work that you do. Thank you, Wes.
Thank you.
For the director's report this morning, we do have a second item. Obviously, most folks are aware that there a large recycling company closed a couple of weeks ago, closure of 284 bottle bill recycling centers, which has had a significant impact on the industry, those employees, and significantly, of course, the consumers of the state of California who have lost those redemption sites. So in order just to be responsive, we thought we'd have the Deputy Adam Tauber give a short update on that situation. So go ahead, Adam. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, I just want to say, in case you're wondering if we are aware that there's a crisis, yes, we are aware that there's a crisis. As Scott said, 284 recycling centers closed this month. As many of you have noted, since the peak in around 2013, we're down to roughly half of the number of recycling centers that we had. There are a number of reasons that this has happened. I'd say that the primary thing is the falling scrap prices for aluminum, which has traditionally been the real support for the program, is the high value of aluminum scrap. But there have been some other factors as well. China's national sword policy has played a part in this, with affecting the markets and the movement of materials. It's had only a kind of an indirect on the beverage container program scrap values, primarily because the quality of the material that comes from the beverage container, the buyback centers, is very high. That's the grade A stuff that reclaimers and recyclers really want to use. But historically, there's a long-term shift in the program away from aluminum and glass as the primary materials that beverages are packed in, to plastics. And there's a variety of plastics, and it's complicated things and caused disruptions in the markets as well, in part reducing the amount of aluminum that's in the system at the same time as the scrap value for that valuable commodity has gone down. But also we've had lower recycling rates, and to the best that we can figure this out, the prime reason for lower recycling rates is a healthy economy. When the economy is healthy, consumption goes up and recycling behaviors go down. It's basic human nature. It's not to say that there's probably not an impact from the closure of the sites, but it's almost impossible to know. And I think one of the other important factors that most of you who are familiar with being down in the weeds on this has to do with the one-size-fits-all approach that CalRecycle is required to use for setting the processing payments and the handling fees. We have a very large, geographically diverse state. The low-volume recycling centers tend to have much, much higher cost per container than the high-volume sites, but by statute, we're required to average all of that out. And as well, the high-density areas of the state tend to have lower transportation costs than the low-density population areas of the state. And again, we're forced to average that all out. So the impact on the low volume and rural sites is more severe. What we've been seeing in terms of the impact from these closures in the short term, basically in the last 3 weeks, is there are some recycling centers who are overwhelmed by the volume that they're getting now. Because they may have been surrounded by Replanet recycling centers, and now they're the only recycling center around, their volume has gone up 2, 3, 4 times to what they were used to. And it's not a surprise to us that the volume would move from one place to another as consumers look for a place to return their material. But I'd say that we were a little bit surprised that some of these recycling centers would be so overwhelmed that they're running out of money. They're having traffic problems, local code enforcement problems, and things like that. Beyond that, some consumers clearly have a lot farther to travel to redeem their beverage containers. And even worse, we're aware that some of Replanet's debts will probably never be repaid. And that's going to have an impact on a lot of people. We've heard some rumors that some of their checks have bounced. And unfortunately, there's virtually nothing that CalRecycle can do about that. That's Replanet's problem, so to speak. There's also been some misinformation and some rumors going around. So I want to be unequivocal that CalRecycle is not going around shutting down recycling centers willy-nilly. We have no intention of closing down the program. And we are not targeting recycling centers that have had an increase in volume due to the shift of material from the closed Replanet sites to the remaining sites. We understand that that shift happens. So I'd like to mention a couple of things that CalRecycle is doing right now to try and help the situation. First and foremost, we have a $5 million supplement program that was approved by the legislature in this year's budget. The first payments from that will go out in September. And that's a $1,000 a month payment to the lowest volume recycling centers. So there's 416 recycling centers every month will get a check for $1,000. I hope that helps. Another thing we're doing is to ensure that we can refill those locations that Replanet has vacated as quickly as possible. We're expediting the application review process. Applications from existing recycling centers with a good history of compliance will be reviewed within 2 weeks. Applications for former Replanet locations or zones that had Replanet locations serving them will be moved to the front of the line. If necessary to fill demand, we're prepared to offer additional pre-certification training classes. And we're also exploring the possibility of accepting applications for certification electronically to further streamline the process. In terms of the grocer's role in this issue, we recently posted a listing online of all of the Option A dealers. That's to say, those beverage dealers who are located in unserved zones who have elected to redeem in store rather than paying a $100 a day fee. So that list is available online. Unfortunately, it's a 4,000 line PDF that's not terribly user-friendly, but we're working right now to turn that into a dynamic, searchable database. And while we're not in a position to comment on the specific enforcement strategies, we are going to ensure that all Option A dealers are aware of their obligations and that they are holding up their end of the program. So the closure of the Replanet sites has created over 400 convenience zones that are being addressed according to our standard process. We had a presentation on that last month. The standard process for when a convenience zone recycler closes, and we're expediting that review wherever feasible. I've got to commend the convenience zone unit for really taking on this challenge of dealing with these 400 zones. Normally, we issue letters to the dealers in the affected zones within 30 days. We had 400 zones, and we issued those letters in 9 days. So we're really working hard trying to get a handle on this. Now, we know that this is a hardship on the remaining recycling centers. We're taking that impact into account when considering enforcement for those who find that they need to close their doors early because they've run out of cash, or the lines have become too long, or they're having street traffic problems, local code enforcement due to long lines and things like that. We're not going to be trying to, ding them twice for being in a tight spot. So, and finally, it's worth remembering that despite all of these challenges, we still have one of the best beverage container recycling programs in the world. We're literally recycling billions and billions of used beverage containers every year. I don't think that's going to stop. I think this is a great opportunity for all of us to come together and make some improvements to the program that are clearly needed. And that's about all I've got. Scott? Questions?
Yeah.
Questions for Adam. Mark, I saw your hand pop up first, and then we'll go over to Ralph. No, we'll bring a microphone to you.
There you go.
All right, Mark Murray with Californians Against Waste. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Adam. I guess that's where I really want to start. I know it's been a really tough couple of weeks, and I want to thank you, Adam, and make sure that you're aware that your team at the Division of Recycling, I think, has been very responsive to me and very responsive to recyclers that I have sent in your direction who are interested in filling these sites. They've had data requests. They're trying to understand, and I really appreciate the responsiveness of your team on that. I also want to, I think, echo a couple of points that you've made and really invite the department to communicate that to the world, because I think that there is a misunderstanding about how we got into this crisis. You mentioned aluminum. So the aluminum scrap price has dropped for the volume of aluminum. If it was the same volume of aluminum in 2014 as it was today, which it's not, it's less, but that's been a $70 million drop in value to the collection infrastructure. And we have no way of making that up with processing payments. Policymakers need to understand that. The scrap value drop for PET, relatively modest, $28 million. And we do have a mechanism for addressing that, but it's too slow. It's not responding in real time. I think policymakers need to understand that. Also been a slight drop in the aluminum, in the glass scrap value. Again, it's the program, the statutory requirements of the program are not allowing the department to respond in real time to these changes in scrap value. It seems to me that it would be helpful to everyone if that was clearly articulated, publicly articulated. I think the chairs of the policy committees understand that, but it's pretty clear to me that the public doesn't understand that, opinion leaders don't understand that, some in the press don't understand that, and I think it would be helpful to convey that. Similarly, Adam, you made the point about this statutory flaw, this, who knew we wouldn't get it exactly right in 1986? But this notion of a single weighted average not working for low volume recycling centers. We have a world of recycling centers that are operating at 50,000 containers per month, and we have 1 to 3 million containers per month. Those folks operate in completely different cost worlds, and our one-size-fits-all processing payment, statutory processing payment, isn't working appropriately. I know there's been a lot of good ideas at the division over the course of the last 3 years. I think it's appropriate to communicate those ideas in a public way to policymakers. I don't want to get you in trouble with the governor or anything like that, but I just think that there's a lot of confusion among the public, among stakeholders about what the flaws are and what needs to be, how we got into this mess and what is needed to fix it. And it's really, again, you're not picking on anyone, but I think it's clear it's a statutory problem, and I invite you to communicate that. But again, thank your team for all the hard work in the last 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Ralph?
Thank you. Adam, thank you for your very thorough report and sort of multifaceted impact on the entire program. Ralph Simoni, representing the PRCC. Just a comment and a thought that may be helpful as we look into the future. First of all stakeholders to this program, I think it's fair to say, are concerned by this latest event. It's going to have a traumatic impact all the way from the consumer to the quality of the end material that goes into the secondary markets. And if there's a possible silver lining in this, it may be the fact that Replanet possesses some very important analytical data that may be helpful to the department in evaluating where we go from here. What does the next generation of recycling center look like? There's a public policy publication called Cal Matters. They claim that they have received data from the department that Replanet was the beneficiary of $25 million. Scott, you're shaking your head, to the extent that's true.
So I just want to, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I just want to clarify. Are you sure they claim they repeat again what you said, the data they received from the department? I just want to make clear which data you're referring to, as opposed to data they may have received directly from Replanet.
Well, as I read their article, they claim that the cumulative amount of handling fees and processing payments was $25 million. Whatever it is, the same analytics apply. Assuming that 25 million is correct and dividing by 284 sites, that's $86,000 per center. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. All I'm suggesting is, to the extent the department has access to that data, can obtain a waiver from Replanet for that data, or have access from the bankruptcy proceedings, I think there's a treasure trove of information that would be invaluable to looking towards this next generation of handling of convenient zones and what it looks like in the future. So my suggestion is merely try to gather and evaluate as much information as you can from this latest event. I mean, we all know the anecdotal components in the press release and otherwise about increase in minimum wage, increase in workers' comp, all of these things. But let's try to scratch that surface and get the real data so that we know where the public policy needs to head in the future.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ralph.
Leonard Lang, recyclingregulation.com. My question would be, Mr. Murray hit it on the head. Would the department be willing to advise the legislature that it's time to remove the weighted average for calculating processing payments? That's one of the biggest problems. I would also, if I were you, take credit for the reduction in the recycling. Just last week, I got an update. Montoya Recycling, in a very well-located place in Phoenix, is down to 20 cents per pound per cans. So your enforcement efforts have had an effect. That place was running $1.90 for years. So that's good. And I think that you need to reflect the reduction in recycling because of the reduction in fraud. Okay? As far as Replanet, my account on YouTube, CACRV, I've got a number of videos up there on why they should have died, and I've gotten a number of calls in the past week. How did I call it? It was easy. They were a high-cost operation. The Berkeley report talked about that, and we don't want to support these high-cost, inefficient operations, and that's what they were. And if they were getting $86,000, $90,000 a year in subsidies, it proves it.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank
In the back.
Luna Coleman with CalRecycle. I just want to let you know the Option A report has been published to the public site this morning.
Thank you.
Luna, is that the dynamic searchable? Awesome. Thank you so much. Our IT staff rock.
Good morning. I'm really happy to hear about that report being published in a searchable fashion. That's great. Jenna Abbott, Protect CRV. We're the trade association for small independent recyclers, and we also want to extend our thanks for the work that the department is doing. We know this hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy for the recyclers. It hasn't been easy for you. So we're grateful. You're right about the volume. I got some stats just now on my phone. Text came in. We're hearing that Sunnyvale volume is up 50%, San Jose is up 30%, San Mateo sites are up 35%, and San Francisco is up 25%. So those are big numbers. I've asked for which sites in particular those are, but I don't have an answer on that yet. So yeah, we're definitely seeing the increase. We're feeling the loss of a large recycler. So we also would really love to see CalRecycle advise the legislature on things that can be done. And we're looking forward to working with you on that. This is an important time for our industry. It's, an unfortunate event has handed us an opportunity. And it's sad that it happened this way. It's kind of like, when you go to a funeral, it's the only time you get to see your family. So this is the time for us to actually make these changes. And we just want you to know that we're here and ready to help.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thanks for your comments. Any other comments? Oh, Heidi, go ahead.
Good morning. Heidi Sanborn with the California Product Stewardship Council, and we advocate for producer responsibility. The California bottle bill never has been producer responsibility. All the producer responsibility bottle bills have passed after ours passed, and none of them have had a situation like this. As far as I know, anywhere in the world where producers have been put in charge of a bottle and can program, have we ever had something like this happen where the entire half the infrastructure just collapses. So in a producer-run program, they fund, design, and operate the system, and they have to meet performance standards set by the state. And they don't have one-size-fits-all calculations. So it's a lot more flexible to allow for these kinds of situations where scrap prices drop very quickly. Bottles and cans are packages, and we have 2 comprehensive bills in the legislature to deal with packages, so that's an option. I guess, we're not advocating for the one right way, with the existing system, but we do feel that there needs to be a big fix once and for all for this program. I've been working in this field now for 30 years, and it seems that every year there's a fix, there's some little fix, but there's something fundamentally broken here, and we've got to fix it once and for all and move on. There's so much more to do and other products to deal with. And we really want to encourage green design and source reduction, and even getting back to reuse and refillables. So again, we encourage you and we'll support you in whatever way you decide to go, but we do think it's time for a reset. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Any other comments? Tina, anything? Nope, okay. Thank you very much, Adam. It's probably a little bit more lengthy than I sort of had anticipated for the director's report, but that's great. That's why it's there when we need it.
Not too bad. It's only 10:30.
Oh, not in a hurry. Obviously, there's hunger for change, for a fix, whatever different words people are using, and we appreciate that. But right now, I just want to let folks know that the emails, the letters that we've been getting that have specific action items that the department can undertake within the existing framework that can help smooth this transition that we're going through right now are valuable. We're making our best efforts to implement those, so please continue to communicate with us if you have ideas. I'm certainly going to be engaged and have meetings set with many of you to continue those conversations. But so I just urge you to continue interacting with us and helping us through this as we can. And we have one more comment back here, Mr. Helgett.
Good morning, Chuck Helgett with Republic Services. A couple of points have popped up and have been rolling around in my head. One thing Mr. Murray talked about is commodity prices. You don't control those prices. We don't control those prices. And much of what's been going on in the system can be attributed directly to that. The other point that I would like to make, and I don't think that the bottle bill is broken. Without the CRV payments, we'd see a heck of a lot more closures out there today. So there's a lot of value in the program that we really shouldn't ignore when we talk about fixing the program. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck, and I think that point is well made. You know, the consumers in California are consuming 25 billion single-use beverage containers every year, and we're recycling about 18 billion of those. It's certainly a significant and successful effort. I don't think anyone's really questioning that. I'm certainly not questioning that. We have hardships we have to address, and that's what we're doing. So thank you all for your comments.
Very good, thank you. So want to move quickly to the public comment section. Is there anyone who has, Mr. Lang, we'll get a microphone to you. Thank you, Desiree.
Ryder Lang, Upper Room Consulting. Well, we've already covered Phoenix and the success story that we have over there. But last month I brought up the issue of the monthly meetings and making them available. This is certainly a video that the participants of this program need to see. It needs to be made available to them so that they know what's happening. As far as the month, it's certainly been a month of extensive media coverage on this program, starting with the collapse of Replanet, and then moving to Consumer Watchdog leading the coverage. Now, they've complained about late reports. I would add to that there's a failure within the department to replace its management. We've had missing branch managers for some time, and I think it affects the running of the program. Also, there are communications that are sent in that do not get responded to. So last month, one of the member from one of the largest processors up here in the north and a member of Protect CRV spoke about the problems with enforcement that I've been talking about. So I'm appreciative for that support. He joined me basically in the protest, and I would highly encourage you to review enforcement methods. Now, before I came up here, I did a little preparation, and I looked in some of my files, looked at a document that I sent to the auditor when they were doing the audit of 2014 covering prepayment controls. Now, They agreed with my opinion. I'll forward that to you if you'd like, Director. But the DOR is still not adopted those regulations. We're talking about going towards the end of the year, but we're having people denied their money, their private property, without due process. And this must be addressed. And I think I'm glad to hear that the volume spikes are not going to be addressed, but I've already had some people call me that have been drawn into that, already had records taken. We've talked about taking records. I don't see where the law permits that, but the department continues to do that. And I think if you look into it, you're going to find thousands and thousands of records that have never been returned to recyclers. Now, Consumer Watchdog wants the removal of the director. I've had a talk with you. I disagree with their opinion, but the problems that are in this program are directly related to your subordinates. And I think that's where we should look as far as removing people. Now, if there were a third audit, I can guarantee you that when they researched enforcement and certification and the use of DORAs, it would not come out well. So until that happens, I'm going to make it easy, and I'll be posting the issues that need to be addressed on my YouTube site, CACRV. And it won't be pretty, and it will be auditable. You can track all the documents, all the stories, right down to how these things were manipulated, how due process was denied. And that's what I'm looking for in this program. I don't see it as a program. The markets have something to do with it. Certainly aluminum has something to do with it. But I do think that this program has been mismanaged. And this is just bringing it all to a head. And it needs to come out right now. And I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Lang. Any other comments? Okay. Let's move on.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to turn our attention to the mattress annual report. I believe, Clerk, we have Cynthia and Ali coming up to present on that. So if you want to go ahead and, oh, sorry, Nicole. All right. So let's make room for everybody if we can.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ana Maria Stoyanchu, covering for Howard Levinson today. MMLA has an item today under the Used Mattress Recovery and Recycling Program. The goal of this program is to reduce illegal dumping, increase recycling, and also reduce public agencies' costs for end-of-life management of used mattresses. CalRecycle certified the Mattress Recycling Council as mattress recycling organization in November 2014 and approved the council's plan in January 2016. CalRecycle is tasked with specific oversight and enforcement responsibilities that include reviewing and approving annual reports. CalRecycle must approve, disapprove, or conditionally approve the annual report within 60 days of submittal. The Mattress Recycling Council submitted its annual report on July 1st, 2019, and this report covers its third year of program implementation. CalRecycle staff notified the council that the annual report had all the required components and was hence complete. Following a determination of completeness is staff's evaluation of whether the council's program is compliant with requirements in statutes and regulations, or with the objectives in its approved plan, which is the subject of today's request for approval and presentation. I would like to acknowledge the efforts on the parts of the Mattress Recycling Council, its advisory committee, CalRecycle staff, and many others towards making this program as successful as possible. Mike O'Donnell, the Managing Director of the Mattress Recycling Council, is here, and we welcome any comments he would like to make at the end of Nikki's presentation. And with that, we'll turn now to Nikki Castagneto to present the recommendations.
Thank you. The Mattress Recycling Council is required to submit an annual report by July 1st of each year that describes its progress in implementing the Used Mattress Recovery and Recycling Program. Today's presentation will summarize staff's analysis of the MRC's 2018 annual report that led to recommendation of compliance. The presentation will focus on program convenience, mattress collection and management, illegal dumping, research, grants and market development, and program finances. In 2018, the MRC increased the number of units collected by 11% to 1.4 million units, improved its recycling rate to 65%, and conducted more research studies than prior years. To increase program convenience, it added permanent collection sites, held more events, and partnered with a number of local bulky item programs. The MRC increased its compensation in the illegal dumping initiative, which led to an increase in the number of participants and an increase in the number of units that were reported. I will go into more detail on all of these in future slides. Offering free and convenient mattress drop-off sites statewide is critical to the success of the mattress stewardship program. In 2018, the MRC continued to build its collection network, which expanded from 163 to 190 permanent, no-cost mattress collection locations and held nearly 100 events. The MRC ended 2018 with sites or events in 57 out of 58 counties. Although the MRC did not achieve its plan objective to offer at least one free permanent drop-off site or hold an event in each county, it extended service in 2019 to that last remaining county. The law does not set specific accessibility criteria for mattress recycling in the state. However, per the department's direction, the MRC conducted a convenience analysis of the program and found that 93% of all California residents, 79% of the state's rural population, and 95% of California residents in low-income communities lived within a 15-mile driving distance of the MRC's recyclers, collection sites, curbside bulky item programs, or collection events. The MRC also determined that 67% of mattress retailers had access within a 25-mile drive from their store. Mattress retailers are required to pick up used mattresses when delivering a new mattress. The MRC conducted a pilot program to assist retailers with managing these units by placing consolidation trailers throughout the state and working to expand the number of collection sites that allow retail volume. California residents receive a $3 incentive when they drop off a mattress to an MRC contracted recycler. The incentive program has proven to be an effective mechanism to get consumers to bring their mattresses directly to recyclers, representing 18% of all units collected. This reduces the burden on collection sites and decreases transportation costs. Despite the MRC's approved plan stating that all its recyclers would offer the consumer incentive, only 12 of the MRC's 15 contracted recyclers offered payments. The MRC must work with its recyclers to resolve issues that prevent them from offering the incentive so that all its contracted recyclers will offer the consumer payment to be consistent with its approved plan. As I mentioned, the MRC collected 1.4 million units, an increase of 11% over the prior year, meeting the goal established by CalRecycle. 31 renovators reported that approximately 226,000 units were renovated, demonstrating an increase in reporting entities as well as the units renovated. The volume of materials that renovators purchased from the MRC's recyclers increased to approximately 3.2 million pounds. The MRC's program recycling rate increased from 59% in 2017 to 65% in 2018. Although this falls slightly short of the 69% statewide goal established by CalRecycle, statute only requires a good faith effort to be made, and staff determined that the MRC did make a good faith effort to reach that goal. The MRC set a 75% recycling target for its contracted recyclers in its plan, which it failed to reach. While the MRC anticipated its recyclers would meet its target, 2 of its largest recyclers failed to achieve this target due to a miscommunication over the use of wood for biomass and significant technological challenges. In addition, limited secondary markets for some materials such as pocket coil springs and wood contributed to the lower rate. The MRC worked promptly with CalRecycle to keep staff apprised of these challenges and its efforts to improve the recycling rate. While failure to meet the ambitious 75% target that the MRC established is disappointing, staff remain encouraged by the steps it is taking to continue to improve and develop new uses and markets, and we look forward to continued increases in the recycling rate. Staff also note that while the 75% target was not met, the 65% recycling rate represents an increase of nearly 6% over the previous reporting period, which is a significant improvement. The MRC began plans for a new pilot project called the Sleep Product Sustainability Program by evaluating existing certification and sustainability efforts in the furniture industry. We are pleased that the MRC is moving forward with source reduction efforts and will continue to monitor the progress of this project. Additionally, staff recommend partnering with renovators to improve convenience for consumers and advance the hierarchy. Staff also encouraged the MRC to focus on research, grants, and market development to ensure the recycling rate increases while landfilling decreases. The MRC created an initiative to better understand and address illegal dumping through a voluntary data collection effort where the MRC provides a financial incentive to entities such as local jurisdictions to provide data. That collect illegally dumped mattresses in exchange for providing data. In order to increase participation, the MRC raised the incentive from $10 to $15 per unit in 2018. The MRC increased participation by 15% to 54 entities who reported collecting a total of 52,000 illegally dumped units, over 10,000 more units than in 2017. This increase in units reported is due to more entities reporting data, and we are encouraged to see more participation, as this provides a more accurate picture of illegal dumping of mattresses within the state and is an important metric to measure the success of the program. Despite many communities still not participating, the MRC extrapolated 2017 data to estimate a baseline of about 98,000 illegally dumped mattresses per year. In addition, the data found higher rates of illegal dumping in low-income areas and with higher concentrations of renters and multi-family dwellings, and revealed a correlation between the program's collection network and reduced rates of illegal dumping. The MRC will use this information to evaluate where to locate additional collection sites and events. The MRC significantly increased its research, grant, and market development activities listed here, including increasing spending by 700%, consistent with requests from CalRecycle and the advisory committee. The MRC offered its first set of microgrants to improve collection, handling, and transportation operations. By providing these grants, 15 collection sites will be able to protect collected units from weather, increase their storage capacity, or make other improvements that should help the program increase the number of units that can be recycled. The MRC also researched markets for wood, conducted a mattress age study to prepare its recyclers for changes in materials entering the recycling stream, performed a study to determine if a correlation exists between bulky item pickup services and illegally dumped mattresses, and evaluated manual versus mechanical dismantling practices. Effectively extracting quality materials, building strong markets for recyclable commodities, and the ability to swiftly respond to changes in the recycling stream are crucial to ensuring a successful recycling program. Therefore, staff greatly appreciate that the MRC increased its research efforts and provided links to the full studies, and we look forward to seeing how the grant program improves the mattress collection and recycling rate. In 2018, the total program expenses increased from $36 million to $25 million, from $25 million in 2017. The MRC's expenditures grew for a number of reasons, including the increase in units collected, the number of entities participating as collection sites, as well as outreach expenses to educate residents about the program. Despite the increase in the program's expenditures, the MRC's total net assets increased to $50 million from $42 million in 2017. To help address the large surplus and improve the program, the MRC increased expenditures by raising the illegal dumping incentive payment to local jurisdictions, offering microgrants to collection sites, increasing research activities, and hiring 3 additional program coordinators to help implement the program. A full analysis of the MRC's proposed 2020 budget will be presented at the September public meeting. The MRC has continued to increase convenience of mattress drop-off sites and the number of mattresses collected, and has reduced the financial burden of mattress management on local governments. As a result of the MRC's efforts to expand and improve the program, staff recommend that the MRC's 2018 annual report and program implementation be found compliant. Staff see opportunities to build upon the program's successes by further increasing the amount of mattresses collected and recycled, and by expanding strategies to improve convenience in underserved areas and for retailers. The MRC should work with its contracted recyclers so they all offer the consumer incentive payments consistent with its approved plan. Additionally, the MRC should continue to work to reduce its high reserve to further improve the program by focusing efforts to increase its recycling rate. Overall, the mattress program is performing well, and staff appreciate the MRC's efforts to improve the annual report content. We look forward to continuing to work with the MRC to further the success of the program. Here is contact information for both the MRC and CalRecycle. On the left side, we have links to MRC's website and their Bye-Bye mattress drop-off locator. And on the right side, we have links to the mattress mailbox, our listserv, and the RFA where this presentation will be posted along with the RFA. And that concludes my presentation. Do we have questions?
Well, it's more of a comment. Is this okay to do comments now? Okay, great. My name is Heidi Sanborn. I'm with the California Product Stewardship Council, and we're very pleased with a lot of the things in the annual report, the source reduction, more convenience, making the studies public, et cetera. But we did submit a letter that we think approval of the budget is fine, but approval of the annual report, which is 10% below hitting the recycling target, is not okay for us. That to me is the performance metric, and they've had a lot of money to use to get to these goals. So we're disappointed that we're 10% below where we'd like to be. And I do want to make sure that the public knows that there is a bill in the legislature to clean up this program a little bit. And we did a bill for carpet to prevent fee money from being used to sue the state. MRC is not liking that provision in the bill, and it's just a point of contention. And I just want the public to know that we don't think public fee money should ever be handed to industry groups with the allowing them to sue the state with the public fee money that they think is going to recycling. So we're fighting that, and hope people will join us. So thank MRC for all that they are doing, and we'll hopefully continue improving the program over time. Thank you, and thanks for all your good staff work.
Thank you, Heidi.
Yes, you, sir. Right there, a few rows.
Hi, I'd just like to say my name is Eric Bryant, and I'm a person who has done a lot with the recycling of mattresses in the community of Sacramento area. And I'd like to say the program is really doing a great job. Please keep pushing forward. Kind of one suggestion is to reach out to some of us individuals that are in the, I don't really want to say we're in the junk or hauling sector. It's kind of, this has thrown us in a different area where we're more exclusive, but if we can make some kind of alliance with you guys to help the public and help this program go forward, we'd love to do it. And I speak for at least 2 other companies.
Thank you. Maybe we can chat after the meeting, get more information.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Other comments or questions on this item? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mike O'Donnell, Mattress Recycling Council, please come see us after this session. I just really wanted to thank CalRecycle staff for all the work that you've done in this program, for approving our 2018 annual report, which really reflects the significant work and achievements of the Bye Bye Mattress program, which is our public-facing brand for this program in California. This annual report demonstrates that over 80% of mattresses in California are now diverted from landfills, and over 90% of California residents have access to mattress recycling. Since we launched in 2016, more than 4.5 million mattresses have been recycled in California, and 145 million pounds of mattress materials have been diverted from landfills. These are pretty fantastic results for a startup organization. It's not that we don't have more work to do, we certainly do, and we're looking forward to it. We're going to continue to expand access to more communities in California, and we are increasing the program's recycling capacity and efficiency. We've made important strides in including the environmental justice community in our activities and planning. In addition, MRC's new partnerships with the California Conservation Corps has increased the number of mattresses recycled throughout California while improving the sustainability of these groups. To improve our recycling rate today and in the future, we're making incredible investments in research to locate and develop new markets to transform old mattress components into new products. As Nikki mentioned, we've also launched the Sleep Product Sustainability Program to help mattress manufacturers measure and reduce the amount of power and water that they're consuming, as well as the waste and packaging materials that they generate. We look forward to our ongoing collaboration with CalRecycle and other stakeholders to expand this already successful program and protect California's environment. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated. Other comments or questions on this item? No? Anna Maria, any last point? Oh, Ellie, please.
If there's no other comments, I just wanted to thank the Mattress Recycling Council for all the work throughout the course of the program to continue to collaborate with CalRecycle. It was really notable as we reviewed the annual report that there was significant efforts that went into improving the content. We found it clear, easy to find information, and just want to continue to collaborate with you to improve the program. So thank you.
Very good. I'll turn it to you, Scott, for any last words.
So thank you, Anna and team. Thank you, stakeholders, for your comments. When we review these annual reports, I just want to remind everyone we really we have a single focused inquiry, which is, does the report meet the requirements of the statute? So I've reviewed the RFA, I've reviewed the annual report, the relevant documents, the stakeholder comments, the responses to stakeholder comments, and I am confident in the staff recommendation at this time that the report meets the requirements of the statute. But I just ask you to be mindful that a lot of the comments that staff make that come along with that approval, while at the moment may not be, situations may not be sufficient for them to be recommending a disapproval, it's those comments that they provide now that help keep the organization out of hot water in the out years. So I just encourage you to really take those into consideration very seriously. So thank you very much.
Very good, Nikki, thank you, very well done. All right, we are going to move to the next item. Teresa, do you want to tee us up on this?
Next up, I'd like to invite Eileen to come up to give us a disposal reporting status update.
Good morning. Morning. Good. Thank you. Morning, everyone. I'm Eileen Hogue, and I represent the Policy Development and Analysis Office, and I'm here to provide an update on the first quarter disposal reporting for 2019. Disposal reports are due from all the counties quarterly, and listed in red was the due date for the first quarter of 2019, which was July 15th, 2019. With the initiation of the RDRS, which is upcoming, there is only one reporting quarter left for DRS reporting, and that will be due October the 15th, 2019. Reports should be submitted complete, on time, and electronically. This ensures the data is available immediately for the jurisdictions to review, and this allows the jurisdictions to request revisions in a timely manner. Counties that did not submit the first quarter DRS data by the July 15th due date are Alpine, Colusa, Contra Costa, Kings, Napa, Nevada, Plumas, Shasta, San Luis Obispo, and Placer counties. 9 of these counties, the ones in black, have sent their reports to CalRecycle within a week to a week and a half after that due date. Unfortunately, Placer has not been as forthcoming. Merced County, who reported late last quarter due to staffing changes, did report on time this quarter. The CalRecycle DRS staff has reached out to Placer County numerous times, specifically on the following dates and by these methods: emails, voice messages, and a certified letter. And as of August the 1st, Placer still had not submitted their first quarter DRS data. So on August 2nd, a certified letter was sent to Bob Drummond at Western Placer Waste Management Authority regarding late reporting. The certified letter was received and signed on August 5th, and the sender's receipt was received back to us on August the 7th. Finally, on August the 14th, Eric Odo from Western Placer Waste Management Authority contacted us to let us know that Bob Drummond had retired. Eric Odo is currently working on getting up to speed on compiling the reports and submitting them to us as soon as possible. Here are Placer County disposal numbers for 2018. And this will kind of give you somewhat of an idea of how much disposal tonnages are missing for the first quarter of 2019. Placer's missing disposal numbers affect between 20 to 21 jurisdictions. And remember, we need to ensure that the data is available as soon as possible for the jurisdictions to review so they can request revisions if necessary and in a timely manner. Hopefully, we will be receiving their first quarter disposal numbers soon, and as of this morning, we are still yet to receive it. This concludes my report. Are there any questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. And I just want to announce that we have 2 upcoming workshops on the recycling and disposal reporting system. One in Sacramento on September 9th, it's in the Coastal Hearing Room, and one in SoCal at Diamond Bar on September 18th.
Very good. Thank you, Teresa. Mark, did you want to speak to the next item? I was expecting Hank Brady to be here, but...
I offered to sit in for
very good.
Hank.
Thank you.
And he felt I was up to the task, so I appreciate his support.
Have our extreme confidence.
So I do want to remind everyone that we are having a public meeting this afternoon in this room to hear input from the public relative to the current draft environmental impact report for the adoption of the regulations to implement short-lived climate pollutants, organic waste methane emission reductions. We are in the middle of the comment period for the EIR. It started on July 30th and concludes September 13. I want to remind folks that we continue to encourage commenters to provide us their comments in a Word document that will help us facilitate accessibility for all interested parties. We will be receiving public comment at the meeting at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and those will be recorded. We'll have a court reporter here, and will be included in the record for the EIR. The EIR is just one portion of the larger regulation development process. And this is focused just on the EIR, so comments about the regs themselves will probably be made, but that's not the point of the hearing. It's to hear a comment on the EIR. Any questions? That's all I have. Thank you.
Very good. Mark, do you just want to continue on to item G?
Sure, I can do that. So I'm going to defer to Pauline Lawrence to give us an update on all things solid waste facility permits and tire permits.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to provide CalRecycle's update on solid waste and tire facilities. I'm going to start out first with our current department issued and concurred permits. The department concurred on July 26, 2019, the Mission Trail Transfer Station revised solid waste facilities permit. They also, as EA, the department issued the modified solid waste facilities permit for the City of Brentwood's Brentwood Transfer Station on August 7th, 2019. Continuing from last month's agenda, I have a few updates on two of them. One is the Desert Center Sanitary Landfill in Riverside County, modified solid waste facilities permit. Action has changed and is now October 15th, 2019. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed changes. The change of closure date from April 2087 to August 2107. Adjusting design capacity based on current survey to correct the maximum depth from 689 feet mean sea level to 695 feet mean sea level. To accept non-friable asbestos waste and contaminated soils. Update to the report of disposal site information. The next one that has a slight change that was continuing from last month is Fallbrook Recycling and Transfer Station in San Diego County. It's a modified solid waste facilities permit. Action is needed by September 8th, 2019. New to the agenda is Solano County, a revised solid waste facilities permit. Permit action date has been updated and is needed by September 17th, 2019. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed changes. An increase in maximum permitted tonnage from 300 tons per day to 600 tons per day. An increase in maximum permitted traffic volume from 199 vehicles per day to 360 vehicles per day on a rolling 7-day average. An increase to the design capacity from 514 tons per day to 775 tons per day. An increase in hours of waste from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday to 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Sunday. And then updates to the facility of report of information. Next is San Timoteo Sanitary Landfill. This is in San Bernardino County. Revised solid waste facilities permit action is needed by September 8th, 2019. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed changes. Update in the estimated closure year from 2043 to 2039. Increase the daily tonnage from 2,000 tons per day to 3,000 tons per day for 15 days each calendar year when waste is diverted from Mid-Valley Sanitary Landfill to San Timoteo Landfill due to the closure of Mid-Valley Sanitary Landfill on high wind event days. Increase in the design capacity from 20.4 million cubic yards to 22,685,785 cubic yards. Update to the non-water corrective action plan and preliminary closure, post-closure maintenance plans and grading plans. And then incorporate the updated report of facility information and update to the solid waste facilities permit prohibitions, self-monitoring sections, and LEA conditions. Next is Bradley East Transfer Station, Sun Valley Recycling Park. This is in the city of Los Angeles. Revised solid waste facilities permit and action is needed by September 27th, 2019. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed changes. Construction and operation of a 105,000 square foot transfer station material recovery center, building with an attached 3,600 square foot office, increase in the incoming daily tonnage from 2,100 tons per day to 7,100 tons per day. And then the transfer station MRF will have a design capacity of 5,000 tons per day incoming material with no more than 4,000 tons per day of municipal solid waste. And then the existing green waste and wood waste material receiving area will remain the same at a maximum of 2,100 tons per day. increase in the permitted transfer station footprint from 16 acres to 20.5 acres, and it also includes a material processing operations of 24 hours per day within the enclosed transfer station or MRF. And then additionally, it will incorporate the updated transfer processing permit accordingly. Lastly, we have waivers that are not on the agenda. We have one from emergency waiver for the Ridgecrest Recycling and Sanitary Landfill in the County of Kern. On August 5th, 2019, the Kern County Public Health Services Department, Environmental Health Department, and Local Enforcement Agency granted an emergency waiver of the permitted tonnage and traffic volume until December 3rd, 2019, due to the emergency resulting from the July 4th through 5th, 2019 earthquakes. Thank you. This is all I have for today. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you.
Good.
That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Well, I believe that that really brings us to the end of today's agenda. So thank you, everyone. As I mentioned, some substantive issues. Grateful for all of you to attend, and we will see you again in September. Thanks.